All right, I think we're good. Hey guys, hey, Miss Tiffany here. How are you? Thank you guys for hanging in there. Today, welcome to today's training. We're going to be talking about small groups and big success with easy prep, smooth transitioning, and smooth teaching. So I'm going to invite you guys, if you haven't already, to say hi in the comments below. If you're joining me live, type live, or if you're watching the replay, comment replay. So today's training, like I said, is about small group, big success, easy prep for smooth teaching. And I'm so excited to talk about this because I know firsthand how challenging small groups can be. And oh gosh, have you ever sat down to teach a small group only to feel like you're constantly redirecting the students? You're scrambling maybe to find materials, and or you're wondering if your kids are ever going to make progress in their small groups. You're not alone, and today I'm going to be sharing with you how you can set up and run your small groups effortlessly, okay? So live chat, Angelique. Yes. All right. So the purpose of this is I want to share with you guys how you can run effective small groups without spending hours or thinking you have to spend hours preparing or even feeling frustrated because you don't have to. And I don't want you to feel like you have to always worry about your behaviors in your small groups and then you can't get to what you need to. You have to get your behaviors under control, and then they won't be able to, they end up not participating in activities because you're so focused on the behaviors, and then small group time is over. Okay. So basically nothing got done. So if that sounds like something that you experience in your classroom, drop a yes in the comments. That's me. I know that wasn't just me experiencing that in my classroom. Drop a yes in the chat. All the time, Rika says, but they are getting better. And as you guys are coming on in, some of you guys who don't know me, I'm Tiffany. I'm actually a pre-K teacher, and I'm a pre-K coach. I have an online coaching program where I help pre-K teachers create a cohesive team so that they can command their classroom with confidence, okay? So that you can save time, stress less, and succeed more on a daily basis in a fraction of the time that took me to learn how to do this, okay? So again, today's, as you guys are coming in, today's live is about small group, big success. Easy prep for smooth teaching, and I'm excited to talk about it because, like I said, I know the frustrating part of small groups in your classroom and how chaotic it can become, and how quickly it can become chaotic. All right. So let me know, guys, in the comments, does small group time ever feel like it's chaotic to you, or like it's not as effective as you want it to be? Drop a me. That's me if you can relate, because I know I'm not the only one. I want you guys to engage. LaArta says hello. I want you guys to engage in the comments, and so we can get the most out of it. We can have a lot of fun by you guys commenting or asking questions or whatnot. So if you're excited about how to make your small groups run smoother and actually make a difference, we can go ahead and comment "Let's go" in the comments. And I love seeing who's here and who's ready to level up their teaching inside of their classroom. So tonight, guys, I'm going to be covering three components of having big success with your small groups. I'm going to be breaking down basically the three mistakes that keep small groups time from running smoothly, and more importantly, I'll show you how to fix them. Now, many teachers, we struggle with small group time because maybe we have strategies that actually don't work, or we believe that certain things are keeping us stuck. And when small group time isn't working, it costs us time energy, our patience, our stress, our sanity, instead of being a productive learning time inside our classroom. And we end up with constant interruptions. You guys know what I mean. I've experienced this. Off task students, and a classroom that feels out of control. Your students are just everywhere. All right, so see, some more people are coming in. Come on in, guys. So we have some new faces. We have some familiar faces. Hello, guys. How are you doing? Welcome to tonight's training. So let me know if this sounds like you. You ready? You sit down to start your small groups, but before you can even get through the activity, you're constantly redirecting off-task students. You're dealing with interruptions, or you're trying to keep the rest of the class from spiraling out of control and chaos. You get frustrated, exhausted, and wondering if small groups are even worth the struggle. Like, today, should we just skip small groups and go to the next thing? If any of this sounds like you, you're not alone. I've been there. Let me refresh the comments. You are not alone, guys. All right, so many teachers that I work with, they have had this problem in the small groups, and the problem isn't necessarily your students, and it's not that the small group time doesn't work. The problem is the way your small groups are actually set up to run. And the good news is it can be fixed. It can be fixed. So if this sounds like something you were interested in, comment "that's me" in the comments. Because it doesn't have to be this way in your classroom. Basically, so once you guys see that there's a problem, and once you understand what's going wrong, and you make a few kind of shifts, your small groups time can actually finally feel calm, focused, and effective without you feeling like you have to do everything yourself. So don't worry, I'm going to talk about that tonight. Many of us have been there, like I said. But what I realized was that this was not the way. I didn't sign up for teaching to experience this in my classroom every day, having students constantly getting out of their seats, they're under tables, they're getting loud, they're not focusing, they're like done in like 2 minutes. I'm like, this is not, no, something's got to give. So this is why I want to help you create a peaceful way for your students to master small groups and to get small groups under control. So let's dive into the 3 key shifts that will make your small groups a success. Raquette, let's go. I wonder what that's doing with the comments. It's doubling up on the comments. I want to do a little quick test, guys. Can comments hi, a simple hi in the comments, because for some reason it's doubling up on comments and they're going on top of each other. I don't know why. We're going to dive into the 3 key shifts that makes your small group a success. Okay. Thanks, Raquette. Thanks, Angelique. Okay. Well, it's not doing it anymore. but okay, so we'll go with that. All right. So here's the thing, guys, with small groups. Small groups should actually be most effective and enjoyable part of your day. I love small groups. My students love small groups. They look forward to small groups. They're excited to get started with small groups. They sit down, they're engaged, they're focused, and we have a fun time interacting during small groups. And this can be you too. So this is where, guys, the real learning happens, is in small groups. This is where you actually get to work closely with your students and see their growth, okay, firsthand. And when you have the right structure, small group time becomes calm, focused, more productive. And your students, like I said, your students will actually look forward to small groups, just like they do in my class, just like other people I've coached. It can also be a fun learning environment for you. You'll be in control, you're confident, and you get excited, like I said, to teach again. You don't have to stay stuck in frustration. It's time to fix this, guys. So don't worry. Like I said, I've been there. We've all been there. So in order to get there, you just need 3 things to get there. And that's what I'm talking about tonight. And, we all deserve this small group time that actually works. A time where your students are engaged, learning, making progress, while the rest of your class stays on task. You deserve to feel in control of your classroom, to have a structure that makes things run smoothly, okay? And to actually enjoy teaching again, okay? And the best part is, guys, it's completely possible. You don't need more help. You don't need more time. And you definitely don't need a new group of students. That's not going to change a thing. All right. You just need these 3 key strategies. So I'm ready to go ahead and move on to point number 1. If you're ready for point number 1, give me a number 1 in the comments. Give me a number 1. If you're ready for point number 1. The first essential piece to making small groups successful Laura, hey Laura. Laura gives me a 1. She says 1. Raquette, 1. Angelique, 1. All right, you guys are ready? All right, so the first essential piece is having clear and consistent, predictable routine. And I don't just mean knowing what time or when small groups is happening. A small group happens after circle time. A small group happens after literacy time. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you having predictable routine, a small group routine, so that students know exactly what to do, how to do it, where to go, and what is expected of them, so that your small group time can run smoothly without you having to do it for them. Without the predictable small group routine, it's a whole process. Without the predictable routine, what comes first? What do you do next? What goes after this? And what happens if this happens? They need to know what to do throughout small group time to keep it engaging, so that your students are not restless, so that they're not distracted, and so that they're not having to be constantly redirected. Because what happens if you're having to be constantly redirected? It pulls your focus away from what you're doing in your group and it distracts the other students working in their other small groups. Okay, you need clear expectations for your students to move to small groups without chaos. It's time to go to small groups. It should not be chaotic. They should know exactly where to go, when to go to it, what to do at that small groups, and how to stay engaged throughout the whole time without you having to say anything to them. You have to have your routine set up so that they have more independence. They know what to do. They're not relying on you. And so the thing is, many teachers will think that, giving them a verbal instruction, a verbal direction, a verbal reminder will help them to get refocused and to follow routines. But in reality, this leads to dependency on the teacher, and your small group should be very much independent, where your students know exactly what to do, like I was saying earlier. And so if your students are not if they're not independently running your small groups, what's going to happen is your students are going to wait for you to tell them what to do instead of taking the responsibility for their own learning and doing what they have to do to stay active in their small groups. So what you need, like I said, students need structure, predictable systems, not constant reminders, or not a reminder at all. No. When your expectations are taught to them, modeled, and reinforced with consistency, your students become independent and small group time runs smoothly without constant micromanaging. Guys, our small group time, it is quiet. The students are engaged, they're active, they're excited, they're having fun, they're learning, and they look forward to going to the different small groups every day. Sometimes if I fall back on the system and they're like, Miss Tiffany, we've been to this one, and they're so excited to go to the next small group the next day, and to complete all of the small groups throughout the whole week. They're so excited to do that. And so that's what happens when you help your students run your small groups independently. So what's it costing you in your classroom to not have this? And this may sound familiar. Like, one of the things we all know, one of the number one things is constant interruptions. Students don't know what to do without reminders. They don't know the directions. They don't know how to do it. It's too hard for them. So they keep asking for help, and it's pulling the teacher's attention. It's pulling your attention away from what you're doing in your small group. It interrupts the other students. And then what happens is, without clear expectations in small group, what's going to happen is your students could get up from the table. They could wander around the classroom. They could go under the desk. They could move to a different seat, go to a different area if your transitions are not set, okay, for your students. Another thing is, you're going to have missed learning opportunities, okay? So instead of engaging in meaningful instructions with your students, you're going to be spending time managing behavior, leaving students without the support they need to grow in your small groups because you're having to multitask and manage all these small groups, and it's just you, or you may have an assistant, or it may just be you, and you're finding yourself struggling because now you're having to manage all these small groups. Hey, stop, don't do that, do it like this, that's not right. Like, you're having to be pulled in so many different directions. Then now small group is not fun, it's not productive, and it's not a meaningful learning experience for your students. And it's not fun for you either as a teacher. So no one looks forward to it. And then what's going to happen? We're going to get burnt out. We're going to get frustrated. And we're going to get exhausted from constantly putting out fires, repeating directions over and over, and struggling to get them through the lessons effectively. So without your clear systems in your classroom, small group time, like I said, is unproductive, overwhelming. It's costing you your time, energy, and your ability to provide your students with quality, great instruction. All right. So who knows what I mean? If anything I've just said resonated with you and it sounds like something that you've seen in your classroom, I know it's not just me. Raise your hand or say that's me. Raquette, story of my life today. I'm barely hanging on today. What kind of things did you see, Raquette, in your classroom? Just curious. Is there anything specific or just kind of generally what I was speaking of? Angelique, that's me. See, it's not just me who's experienced this. It causes us to be frustrated, and we love teaching. This is our passion. This is what we're meant to be, as teachers, educators for these little ones. So I want you guys who commented, that's me, or that you've seen this in your classroom, I want you to imagine walking into your classroom and small group time runs smoothly on its own. Your students transition effortlessly. They know exactly where to go and what to do. No more repeating, no more redirecting. Your engagement is high. Your students are being engaged at their table. While you're working in your small groups, the rest of the class is being productive and engaged in their meaningful activities at their table. I want you to imagine that you feel in control and that you're confident instead of dreading small groups, okay? You actually look forward to it. Not just you, but your students. You guys look forward to your small groups. You know that your students are thriving and not just trying to survive, right? Your students actually make faster progress because they're receiving this constant, consistent, focused instruction. Their skills improve, and their skills improve quickly, and then it leads to less reteaching and more success. I want you to imagine that in your classroom. When you set your small groups up the right way, you get your time back so you can stress less and actually enjoy it again. Small groups becomes very, very powerful. It becomes a powerful tool for success in your classroom, and not another source of frustration, basically. So in my program that I have, my online program, I actually teach you how to organize your small groups so that it becomes less of a battle between you and your students, and so that they stay engaged and actually look forward to small group time. All right. So, if you like to see these things happen in your classroom, raise your hand. Can you do a raise your hand emoji if you like to see something like this in your classroom? Okay. close them off. Mm-hmm. Okay, Raquel. All right. So the second thing, if you're ready for point number 2, comment 2. All right. So let me scroll back up here. All right, so clear and predictable routines we just covered. The second thing, Laura says 2. All right, so the second thing, guys, Angelique says 2, Raquel 2. Awesome, guys. Let's go. Let's do it. The second thing you need is, instead of relying on giving them constant reminders or even micromanaging their groups, you need a system. You need a clear, structured system for small groups that teaches your students exactly what to do without you having to tell them over and over again. When your expectations, routines, and your procedures are right, practiced, and reinforced, your students will gain the confidence. It's all about, the more confident they are, the more willing they are, the more excited they are. They'll gain the confidence they need to work independently without interrupting you every 2 minutes. Get them to be more independent with expectation, with your defined expectations, so that they can do things for themselves and complete their task, complete whatever activity it is at their small groups. Students know what to do and how to behave, minimizing disruptions. So with, like I said, with this structure, with the right structure, small group time shifts from stressful and overwhelming to calm and productive, allowing you to actually teach while your students make progress. And this is what I also teach in my program. So I'm excited for you guys to start implementing this stuff inside of your classroom. And let me tell you something. These expectations and structure that you should have in your small groups, what you're missing out on is your student, well, without having these expectations, small group time can more feel like a battle to you, right? Like students will constantly ask, what do I do next? Or they'll all constantly come out of their chair, come to your small groups, interrupting you. You're feeling drained and overwhelmed from managing behaviors instead of teaching. And the time you spend redirecting your students means that there's less learning and slower progress that your students will make inside your classroom. When you do this, your students, like I said, will know what to do. They'll transition smoothly and get started without reminders. They stay engaged and on task. Your disruptions that you have are very minimal. So you can actually teach and they can actually learn. Okay? You feel calm and in control instead of constantly putting out these fires. When students have clear expectations, routines, and independence, it helps them build the structure, and the structure comes in place. Small group time, then that's when the transformation happens from it being stressful and overwhelming to smooth and productive. Okay? And that's what happens when you make progress inside of your classroom. Have you ever find yourself like constantly reminding students what to do during small groups? I don't know how to do this. And you literally just told them, right? Drop a yes in the comments if that's you. So, yes, okay. In my program, guys, I teach you exactly how to set up your expectations, your routines and your structure so that you can actually empower your students throughout small group times to work independently so that your small group time finally works for good. Train your students to follow routines without constant reminders. Set up those expectations and create a classroom culture of independence and responsibility. This is one of the biggest game changers for small group success, guys. I'm telling you, like when I came to my new school that I started in January of last year, mid-semester, small group time was chaotic. It was out of control. And when I came in, I asked the teacher at that time, I said, do you mind me just taking over and implementing certain things? She said, no, sure, go ahead. I was like, great. Because this class needs structure, they need the routine, they need all that, they need these transitions. So I took over that classroom, took over the small group, and the changes that the teacher started to see in that classroom, she was like, oh my God. She's like, Tiffany, she's like, you know what you're doing. She's like, she had been there for like maybe 7-ish years, and she had never seen anything like this. Well, the children, they were engaged, they were focused. We weren't doing anything. We're sitting back. They're going to the small groups that they're supposed to be doing. We didn't tell them what small group to go to. They already know. They're already programmed to know where to go each and every day. They know what to do when they get to that small group table. They know exactly what to do. We're not going around telling them or teaching them or showing them. They already know what to do at the small groups when they get there. They stay engaged the whole time that small group time lasts, 15, 20, 25 minutes. Hey, Christine, you're here, so you didn't miss me. So basically, it is possible inside your classroom when you do this, okay? When you implement these things in your classroom, you can have this. Raquette. Recap. Raquette, I'm reading your comment. So Raquette says, I have a question. My kids are more of a monkey see, monkey do class, and they will start playing in separate groups. But eventually they gravitate and want to play together. Should I get them to try to stay apart, or is it okay to work together if it works better that way? You want my opinion? Now, everybody has their own reasons to do things different ways, but I'm telling you what works best and what has worked best in my classroom year after year, and even with my clients that I coach in their classroom, I'm telling you to do it this way. There's a reason. Get them to stay apart. They need to stay in their small group. It's a structure. It's a routine. It's the way things work. You know, in school, in life. You can't just do whatever you want and go wherever you want when you want to. No, there's a structured routine. It's to keep things organized and to give them exposure to the different activities that you have in different small groups. Okay, when they start gravitating towards each other, that's going to cause chaos, confusion. Then they're going to go with their friends, and then they're going to start playing with their friends, and they're going to start playing with other things that they're not supposed to be. Okay, it could go that way. So if you want my advice, get them to stay where they are supposed to stay. That's how it should go. That's how small group time works. It's not okay to go where you're not supposed to be in the classroom. So I hope I answered your question, Raquette. You let me know. I love this interacting. Yeah, Christine says, what was number 1? Someone fill me in a quick response, please. Who remembers number 1? Bonus points. I'm giving out bonus points. No, the first thing, Christine, was looking at my notes here, having clear and consistent, predictable routines. And what I said earlier is I didn't mean just knowing when small group is happening, after circle time, after literacy, not knowing when it's happening, but having an actual small group routine for that 20, 15, 20, 25 minutes, however long it is in your classroom, having a routine set up in place to make it run smoothly. Dot, 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 dot. This happens and this happens and this happens. So to keep things consistent. So that was number one. Consistent, predictable routine. Gotcha. Yes. Awesome. Okay. Well, Christine, you're right in time for number 3. If you guys are ready for point number 3, drop a number 3 in the comments for me. Who's still with me? Give me a 3. Yes, routines. Agreed. Right, Christine? It just works. It just works for all of us. It just works. Yep. Absolutely, Christine. You know what I mean. All right, number 3. Who's ready for point number 3? Drop a 3 in the comments for me. 2. Before we do number 3. No, 2 was hard on. Have to scroll up. Perfect. Two is getting them to work independently. Christine? Raquel said, crazy thing, they literally all play great together, and when it comes to art, they love to do it together, and it seems like how they play everything kind of runs together, but I will try to keep them separate. LOL, yes, please. There's a reason. Yeah. There's a method to this madness, okay? Chaos to control. That's our goal. Christine says number 3. Raquel says number 3, so we are ready. All right. Let me scroll back down. All right. Christine tries to have them do things together for sure. Yep. All right. So number 3, ways to keep them engaged throughout the entire small group. You have to keep them engaged throughout the whole small group so that they're not bored. So they're not, I'm done, I'm finished. What else? What else do we hear? I'm bored. I'm done. I'm finished. What do I do now? All of that. You need to keep them occupied throughout their whole small group so that you're not interrupted. Do you guys hear any of these, anything else in your classroom during small group time? Okay, Christine. Yep, 3. Keep them engaged. You got it. Christine's taking notes. I love it. All right, so a lot of you guys may think that, hey, you're so excited to plan these activities for your students, and if I plan hands flying onto others if not engaged, yes, all the things that causes us to become frustrated, all those things we'll start to see. And sometimes we think, as teachers, we think if I plan a great small group, this has happened, oh my gosh. If I plan a great small group lesson, my students will stay engaged the whole time. There's been plenty of times where in the past, I'm like so excited about the small group activity. I'm like, yeah, they're going to be focused. They're going to be engaged the whole time because I just created a great lesson I've thought the same thing too. We think that if it's exciting enough, our students will stay focused from the start to finish. But engagement isn't just about an exciting lesson, guys. It's about structure, pacing, and building them, holding them accountable for when they're in their small group. Without these guys, even the best activities, be right back. Even the best activities will fall apart, leaving you constantly redirecting and dealing with these interruptions. Okay? So, to keep your students engaged the entire time, for small groups, you need structured routine that students can rely on so it doesn't confuse them, so they know what to do. They're relying on it. They know exactly the expectations, so that they do know what to do. Another thing is have varied activities that keep their interest and prevent boredom. A plan for movement and hands-on learning to match basically their attention spans. Okay. You also need built-in accountability. They all need to be held accountable for what they're doing at their small group, whether it's teacher-led or whether it's independent small group. They need to be held accountable so that they take ownership of their learning. It's their responsibility. Small group time needs to be a purposeful time. It needs to be structured and engaging, not just entertaining. Okay? If you just plan these fun activities without all this in the background, without the structure, without the teaching them independence, with all this, your small group time can become a flop. Because it's happened to me before in the past, before I learned how to actually implement these systems in small groups. So, yes, lots of activities. Christine, do you find you have to give them wiggle breaks? No, I do not. How long are work blocks? Our small. I'm guessing you're talking, Christine, about the time that the work blocks for small groups. My small groups are 20 minutes, give or take, depending on the type of activity. It could be 15 minutes. Some of them go into 25. Very few of them, but they're very small. Sometimes they're even 10 minutes. But I will say, on average, I'll just say 20 minutes, give or take. That's how long our small group time is. I think I answered your question, Christine. All right. All right. So here's some things that you're missing from not having engagement, from not keeping them engaged throughout the whole time. 20 minutes, yes. Without solid structure to keep your students engaged and to keep engagement high, this is what's going to happen. Your students are going to lose focus, making you to stop and having a constant redirect, kind of like we talked about earlier. Some finish early, while others take forever or take less time. Everybody takes the amount of time that they need, but some finish early, some take longer, and it causes chaos and frustration. You get interrupted with questions like, what do I do now? Or like, I'm done. Instead of making progress, you spend your time managing these behaviors instead of teaching. Without a structured system for engagement, small group time turns into a stressful mess. And then your students' learning suffers. I want you guys to think about something. I want you to think about if you had a small group where every student is engaged from start to finish. Okay? No more losing them halfway through. You don't have to constantly stop Redirect, like we've been talking. They know exactly what to do at every step. And when they finish early, they know what to do as well. You can actually focus on your teaching instead of managing those distractions inside of your classroom. And this is the key, guys. This is the key to calm, productive small group time where learning actually happens. So let me ask you, have you ever started small group lesson only to have your students, like you just started, they lose focus, they get restless? What do I do next? If that's you, say I know in the comments. So this is my daughter. I guess are you tired? Say hi, Zoran.
Hi.
Say, how are you?
How are you?
Say, good evening.
Good evening.
All right, blow kiss. Go with daddy.
No.
Okay. So basically, thank you for all your share. Of course. Hey, Chantel, hey.
Hey.
Mine are engaged, but at all different levels, so there's more waiting for some. Hi. Oh, Christine says hi, baby girl.
Hi, baby girl.
At times, I do work with the faster learners than the slow guys. All right, so you gotta go. I gotta finish this.
Mommy.
I'll be with you in.
To do it again.
Okay, last time. Say smooches.
Smooches.
Okay.
And give me blue kiss.
Okay.
Mwah.
Okay. Good
Yeah.
job. Good job. Okay. All right. So that's my daughter. So let's see. Where was I? Smooches. So cute. Thanks, Sydney. Cindy. Hearts for you. She's getting so big, right? Thank you, Chantel. She is, right? Oh my gosh. Enjoying every minute of it. So let's see, where was I? All right, so basically everything what I've been speaking about, right? So basically I'm teaching you guys in my program exactly how to structure your small group time so that your students stay engaged the whole time without you having to constantly redirect them or entertain them. You learn how to plan small group routines that keep your students focused and from beginning to end. Use movement, hands-on activities to hold their attention and create a built-in accountability system so your students stay on task without you reminding them. All right. When small group time isn't working, it drains us. It drains your time, your energy, our sanity, our stress, while your students miss out on valuable learning opportunities inside of their classroom. It's frustrating to feel like you're constantly having to manage these behaviors. But here's, like I said earlier, here's the good news. But when you recognize what's holding you back, you reflect on your approaches, you make a few shifts, everything changes, and now small group time can become smooth, productive, and actually enjoyable. We love small groups. My students look forward to small groups. If our story time runs over, they're like, Miss Tiffany, it's time for small groups. Okay, thanks. We're getting there. They anticipate the activities because they actually have more control. Like I said earlier, they're more independent. They are in control of small groups. They run it for themselves, not me. I work in my small group. My other teacher works in her small group. And then we have the other independent small groups where they're working on skills for themselves. Who feels this struggle? Drop a me in the comments. So I'm going to recap the points that I made and that I talked about today and what I went over. The three topics, tidbits that I shared today are: number one, having clear and consistent, predictable routines, create independence. And number 3 is engaging your students throughout small group time. Okay, Chantel. Chantel says, when I really need to, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't move my screen over so my eyes don't go all the way over here. Anyway, hey, Chantel. Chantel says, when I really need to get through a lesson, I sometimes pair my advanced students with my lower students. You want my opinion on that? It allows me to focus on the one who have behavior challenges that interfere with the learning of others. Okay, so I have to chime in on this. Okay, I would not do that. I would not pair my high ones with my low ones because that it takes away from taking the high ones to even higher level. So if you have your higher ones with low ones, they're not dumbing, but they're dumbing down what they know to help these lower students when they could be accelerated in working on more advanced skills with you having a higher group. Anyway, that's a whole nother ball game, pairing students in small groups. That's a whole nother lesson or live. But I understand why you did that, because I've done it before too in the past, before I found a better solution for it. So I love you, Chantel, but I had to get my 2 cents on that. Chantel, she's amazing. She was actually in my classroom for like a little bit. Oh, she is so amazing. Amazing. Very rare that you run across such amazing teachers like herself. So tooting your horn, Chantel. So yeah, miss you. All right, so here is what so basically the 3 things that we talked about tonight. These are what most teachers are missing to have a solid small group time. So if you find small groups is not productive, you're likely missing these, right? This is what I teach in my program. This is one of my favorite things to focus on in my program. It not only teaches you routines that actually work like a magic wand, but to get your students ready, I teach you exactly how to get your small groups stress-free so that you can save time and succeed more in your classroom. So some of you may want this, but you feel so frustrated, or like you've tried it all, or you're at a loss of what to do. That's where I'll come in play. It's hard to do it on your own if you haven't had the experience or the knowledge of how to do this. So this actually happens to be what I specialize in. In my main program is solving classroom management problems such as small groups in a pre-K classroom, and this is my passion. This is what I love. It's what I do with my clients and the cohesive classroom method. That's my method that I use to solve classroom management problems so that your classroom can run cohesively, so you can command your classroom with confidence. So if you want to save time, stress less, succeed more, just like some of my past clients, comment chat, or you can actually personally DM me, and I'll kind of speak to you about like what's going on in your classroom, and we'll chat about it, and basically you can just message me. It's the ultimate fast track to get to where we want to be, because I teach you how to maximize your engagement and get your class back on track in a fraction of a time that it took me, by being able to use all my shortcuts inside of your classroom. So, let's see. I'm looking at the comments. I feel that. Cindy, I feel that 2 of my groups are low and lower. I feel small group is even too much. No. They need one-on-one, but there isn't enough time in the day. Yes, there is. Oh my gosh, there certainly is. We do it every day, and we look forward to it, and we have a great time, and it's fun. And they go home and they talk to their parents about what they're learning in small groups, and it just makes me happy. And it keeps us anticipating going to work the next day and working with the next group in small groups. And then other students, whenever they get to the next small group, they're so excited because they've seen other students participate in it throughout the whole week. So, Cindy, send me a message. Send me a message, and we can chit chat. All right. So if you reach out to me, here's what to do. We'll have a quick conversation. I'll talk to you about what's going on. Like I said, get clear on what's going on, where you're at with this, and I'll tell you and connect you with something if I think it would be more helpful. So if I'm confident that I can fix this, and it's your goal to solve this forever, not only small groups, but other things in your classroom, it might be the best decision you ever made. Comment mentor or message me mentor, and I'll be happy to reach out to you and we can speak further about what's going on in your classroom. So if you got value out of this training, y'all know what to do. Comment value. Let me know. Comment value. Drop a value bomb. All right, so I'm so excited for you guys to implement some of these in your class, some of these things inside of your classroom, so that you have big success with small groups in your classroom, and you finally have easy prep for smooth teaching throughout your whole entire time. So replayers, comment replay as well if you got value. I invite you to connect with me, and again, I'll reach out. We'll get clear on what's going on. And I do want to thank you guys. Check the comments before I hop off here. All right, cool. I want to thank you all for joining me. And I will see you guys on our next training. The content calendar for February value. Chantel says, thanks, Chantel. If you haven't already, check out the content calendar. This is something new I'm doing so that you know every week for that month what I'm talking about so you can look at it. It's actually pinned to the feature section in our group, here inside of our group. If you go to the feature section, it's already pinned there. The content calendar for February is up. So the first week, second week, third week, fourth week, the content is already there. It tells you a brief description underneath what we're discussing. And then for March, our March calendar will go out come March. Now, if you guys have requested certain topics for me to cover, and I've actually have my content calendar made for the year, but what I did is if you request something, I take what I had already planned and I move it to the end and I bump you up so that you get value, the most value you can out this group. So you're not waiting for me to just drop that that topic whenever. If you have a suggestion, let me know. I'll move you up in my content calendar and I'll message you the actual date. I know I've done it already with some of you guys. I already gave you a date of the date that I have it planned. Christine, yes, I'm going to replay because I missed some awesome. Oh, Chantel, love you. You're an extraordinary teacher too, Tiffany. Oh, thank you. Love it. All right, guys. So, again, I thank you guys for joining me. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I love interacting with you guys. I look forward to future lives with you this semester. And I'll see you live next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here inside of our group. Check the content calendar to see what the topic will be. All right? Other than that, I'll see you guys next week. All right. Love you. Appreciate it. Bye.